Hello and welcome to South Asia Today, a show that provides you the glimpses of South Asia. I am your host Yeshi. Here are the headlines. Indian Prime Minister Modi concludes three-nation Europe tour. Trade, energy, Ukraine crisis remained in focus. Sri Lankan tea pickers' dreams shattered by economic crisis. And Muslims across South Asia mark Eid al-Fitr with great fervour. Let's begin the show. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi was on a three-day, three-nation European trip this week, where he engaged with top leaders of Germany, France, Denmark and other Nordic countries. The visit primarily focused at deepening the multi-front cooperation between India and European countries. While Germany announced an advance commitment of 10 billion euros, France signalled it was looking forward to working with India on civil nuclear cooperation.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, along with key members of his cabinet, including Foreign Minister Subramaniam Jaishankar and Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, held 6th India-Germany Intergovernmental Consultations last week. A total of 9 agreements were signed between India and Germany. This included a joint declaration of intent on green and sustainable development partnership, under which Germany agreed to make an advance commitment of 10 billion euros, equivalent to $10.52 billion of new and additional development assistance to India until 2030. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz expressed his confidence in the growth of the Indian economy, which he said will hold key responsibility in the global fight against climate change.
Angesichts der Bedeutung, die Indien haben wird wirtschaftlich und auch im Hinblick auf seine Bevölkerungsentwicklung, ist auch klar, dass im Hinblick auf den globalen Klimaschutz Indien ein Schlüsselland ist. Und das ist wichtig für die Zusammenarbeit, die wir in diesem Bereich entfalten. Deshalb bin ich sehr froh, dass wir eine ganze Reihe von Vereinbarungen haben abschließen können und insbesondere diejenigen, die wir eben haben unterzeichnen können.
India has now been making inroads into the European market, with the latter being largely appreciative of Delhi's commitment towards achieving its ambitions in the past few years. While the European Commission President had last week paved the way for a better trade connectivity between the two sides by agreeing to establish a Trade and Technology Council, India and the European Union are set to hold an initial round of negotiations on a free trade agreement in June this year. As per different sources and reports, two sides are looking to seal the deal by late 2023 or early 2024.
हम एफटीए वार्ताओं में शीघ्र प्रगति के लिए प्रतिबद्ध हैं.
The Ukraine-Russia war, which has had polarizing ripple effects in the past 2 months, was also one of the important discussions during PM Modi's entire visit. Modi reiterated Indian stance, urging the two countries to resort to dialogue and discussion. He said India was and will always vouch for peace. While meeting his Danish counterpart Mette Frederiksen, Modi lauded her efforts on the green strategic partnership that both three countries share. Speaking about the mutual goals of Denmark and India, he mentioned the green strategic partnership that aims at furthering economic and political ties between the two nations and also nurturing budding job opportunities.
पिछले साल जैसे ही आवाजाही मुमकिन हुई, तो प्रधानमंत्री फेडरिक्सन पहली हेड ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट थी जिनका हमें भारत में स्वागत करने का अवसर मिला. भारत और डेनमार्क के मजबूत होते संबंधों को दिखाता है. और खास बात यह है कि हमारी ग्रीन स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप प्रधानमंत्री फ्रेडरिक्सन की व्यक्तिगत प्राथमिकताओं और उनकी वैल्यूज से गाइडेड है.
The Prime Ministers also pledged to continue to deepen cooperation between the Nordic countries and India and focus their discussions extensively on international peace and security, including the conflict in Ukraine and multilateral cooperation. Blue economy, climate and sustainable development, and multilateral cooperation in the context of COVID aftermath were the key agendas of the Nordic summit. Narendra Modi received a grand welcome on his last leg of the tour by French President Emmanuel Macron. Macron has recently been re-elected the country's president. The ties between India and France have grown stronger, with Delhi expanding its defense support destination. New Delhi has acquired 36 4.5th generation Rafale aircraft from France. While discussing the entire range of ties, the two sides have committed to deepen ties at multiple fronts, including the fight against climate change. Experts who have dubbed the Indo-French ties as a connection of hearts have said the relationship is only going to get stronger in coming times.
Let's move to Sri Lanka, an island nation which continues to face political and economic volatility. The people and opposition parties are holding demonstrations against the Rajapaksas. The incessant crisis in Sri Lanka has affected nearly every common citizen in the country, with people at the lower economic strata complaining of not being able to acquire even the everyday essentials. We have a report.
Chaos and protests continue on the streets of Sri Lanka as the week-long economic crisis in the island nation shows no sign of subsiding. Opposition parties organized a massive anti-government rally from the central city of Kandy to Colombo's Independence Square. They wore headbands that read "Gotta go home," one of the main rallying cries of the protests. Sajid Premadasa, leader of the Samagi Jana Balavigya party, addressed the protesters, stating that the existing government has destroyed the country.
මම කියනවා රට විනාශ කරපු මේ රාජපක්ෂාන්වත් එක්ක අපිට ගනුදෙනුවක් නැහැ. මේ හොර හැත්තත් එක්ක ගනුදෙනුවක් නෑමයි. මිත්‍රවරුනි, මේ රට ගොඩනගන්නට අපි සූදානම් වන්නේ ජනතාව ලබා දෙන ජනතා ආශිර්වාදයෙන්.
Dwindling foreign currency reserves have left the nation of 22 million people struggling to pay for fuel, food and medicine imports, and brought thousands onto the streets in daily protests that have occasionally turned violent. Critics say the roots of the crisis, the worst in several decades, lie in the economic mismanagement by successive governments that created and sustained a twin deficit, a budget shortfall, and alongside a current account deficit. While many of the cabinet ministers took responsibility for the failure and resigned recently, the Rajapaksa brothers have refused to step down. This has created uproar in the citizens who are taking the streets until their demands are met. The tea industry, which supports hundreds and thousands of people in the country, has also been severely hit, making it difficult for farmers and tea plantation workers to even arrange for 2 square meals. Arulappan is one of the millions of Sri Lankans reeling from the island's worst economic crisis in decades.
දැන් අපිට කියනකොට ගෑප් කැමට මදි එක වීදන් නෙවෙයි මදි. ඉතින් එක වෙලක් තමයි ඉතින් කණ්ඩ වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. ඉතින් අපි දැන් ගාන බැලුවතම අපිට 900ක් ගන්නවා ගත්තට සීනි එමදාම අපි තේ එක බීලා තමයි යන්නේ. සීනිත් වැඩි වෙලා තියෙනවා. රොටි කෑල්ලක් ගන්න ගියොත් එම රොටි කන්න බෑ. දැන් පාන් පිටියට වෙලා මේ මිල ගිලා තිනවා. ඒ වගේ කියන්න ඕනේ මේ හාල් වලට මිල ගිලා තිනවා. එම එකට.
The industry also suffered from a controversial government decision last year to ban chemical fertilizers as a health measure. First quarter tea production fell 15% on the year to its lowest 2009, with the Sri Lanka Tea Board saying dry weather had taken a toll on bushes that received insufficient fertilizer after the ban. In a review of the country's economy released last month, the International Monetary Fund said the public debt has risen to unsustainable levels and foreign exchange reserves were insufficient for near-term debt payments. Reports have shown that the government's recent measures are insufficient to restore sustainability, strongly indicating the need for debt reconstructing.
Now we take a look at some happenings in Asia in a segment called Asia Watch. The festivities returned in the alleys of Lalitpur as the district echoed with the sounds of traditional musical instruments amid the chariot procession of the Ratu Machindranat festival in its original form after 2 years. People felt elated to celebrate the festival as the red god, seated in a 32-foot tall chariot, started touring the ancient city. Also called Bunga Dokin Nevari, meaning the god of rain and harvest, the Ratu Machindranat Chariot Festival started on April 30 this year with the ascension of the rain god on the chariot. It is the longest Jatra in Nepal, which continues for months depending on the position of the stars. The procession, which runs for over a month, witnesses a 32-foot high chariot which is constructed annually by the Nevar community using wooden beams and thumbed adjustments to the shrine sanctum without using a single nail. According to the lunar calendar, the longest chariot festival of Nepal begins on the 4th day of the bright fortnight of Bachala, the 7th month in the lunar Nepal Sambat calendar. But this year, it didn't fall as per the set-out rule. Young engineers at the Sheikwan Satellite Launch Center in northwest China have been devoting themselves into developing the country's space industry by displaying great passion, dedication, and ingenuity. At the center, there are a group of young people with average age less than 30 years old. However, they are very passionate about their work and have so far fulfilled their missions with 100% success rate. 28-year-old Zhao Shunkai became a rocket hoisting commander 2 years ago. In order to practice the excellent skills, he used his spare time to improve his professional knowledge every night and recorded notes of more than 200,000 words. Zhao worked at a station for the test launching system, which is mainly responsible for the technical service support for the space products such as rockets and satellites. Since 2017, the station has encouraged young people to strive to be leaders in scientific and technological innovation. Zhao put forward a constructive idea of manipulating cranes with wireless remote controls, which was fruitfully applied in the hoisting process of Shenzhou 13 mission. The Sheikwan Satellite Launch Center is scheduled to launch 2 spacecraft and more than 20 satellites and recover 2 spacecraft this year. Japanese company Yamaha Motors introduced an electric scooter named E01. They also announced that they will start the demonstration experiment in 5 Asian countries and Europe. The E01 is an electric bike that combines motorbike technology and EV technology, which is used by Yamaha. The E01 was developed as a commuter with good driving performance for short to medium distance travel. The electric drive makes it easy to move the motorcycle backward. At the press conference, the test drive attracted the attention of motorbike journalists. Key point is battery and charging facility. 3 types of charging facility are prepared. Speed charging facility enables 1-hour fulfillment. Battery's deterioration is different based on temperature and circumstance. Thus, demonstration experiment is held in temperate zone Japan and Europe, in subtropics Taiwan, and tropics Thailand, Indonesia and Malaysia. The targeted countries will have a sharing service or B2B rental services. After the demonstration experiment, Yamaha Motors will obtain driving data of different countries. It will be for the manufacturing and development of electric scooters and vehicles in the future. Toyoso area in Tokyo City, the venue of Tokyo Olympics, has dramatically developed ever since the games were organized there. Michino Terrace Toyosu was opened in April. It was constructed and organized by Japanese representative general contractor Shimizu Corp as the base of Toyosu Smart City. Michino Terrace has office area and hotel area. There are digital modern facilities like robots and autonomous driving vehicles. Shimizu Corporation is big general contractor and continuously observing social necessity. It is the resource of expansion of business field. Basically, Japan's society is suffered by decreasing population and labor power. Shimizu Corp is trying to solve it by its rich experience of construction and DX. Smart City is required to supply comfortable life and safe life. Shimizu Corp analyzes that Smart City has two aspects. One of the vigorous economic activity, including food culture, derives from Toyosu Fresh Market, which has moved from Tsukiji Market. Second aspect is Tough City against disaster. Under disaster, it is worked as an evacuating venue. There are several places to see in Toyosu Smart City like the Tokyo Tower, Skytree, Rainbow Bridge and the Bay Area. Toyosu Smart City is designed to provide the best quality of life. Internet is no longer a luxury but a basic requirement in today's world. The COVID-19 pandemic has emphatically demonstrated us the same as the online classes and work from home became the new normal. Though the countries around the world got adapted to the change owing to good internet speed in illegally occupied Gilgit-Baltistan, the things got worse amid poor internet services. Even at present, the situation hasn't improved a bit, becoming a major challenge, especially for students.
In today's era of globalization and cutthroat competition, broadband and internet services have become more of a necessity than a luxury. But in illegally occupied Gilgit-Baltistan, a good internet service still seems to be a distant dream. Students are the most affected in such a scenario. Eskom, a local telecom service provider on which they are mostly dependent, is also not efficient enough to help them complete their assignments or attend online classes.
यानी नेटवर्क है, इसमें बहुत ही इशू है। जो हमारा गूगल है वो नहीं चलता है और हमारे गिलगित में 4G और ये 3G का जो सिस्टम है वो बहुत ही ख़राब है, जिसकी वजह से हम अपने काम और सही तरीके से नहीं कर सकते हैं और सेटिस्फाई भी नहीं हो सकते हैं।
जैसे कि आप जानते हैं, जो हमारा यहाँ पे नेट का सिस्टम है 4G जो एस्कॉम है, उसकी तो हालत बिल्कुल ना होने के बराबर ही है। तो हमें असाइनमेंट्स वगैरह में असाइनमेंट के लिए, प्रेजेंटेशन के लिए हमें बहुत सफ़र होना पड़ता है।
Eskom is the mobile network of Special Communication Organization or SCO, which is a public sector organization under the Pakistan's Ministry of Information Technology and Telecommunications and is managed by Pakistani Army. It is the first telecom network provider in the urban and rural parts of Gilgit-Baltistan and POK and has more than 4,800 kilometers optical fiber in the region. Though established in 1976, Eskom has not been able to upgrade its services till date. Neither has it shown any intent to do so. Leave aside 3G or 4G. Several times, internet doesn't even work with 2G speed in the region, which creates a lot of problem, especially for those who require internet to complete their task.
तो गिलगित बल्तिस्तान के अंदर इंटरनेट की सहूलत बिल्कुल मैसर न होने की वजह से स्टूडेंट जो हैं वो सफ़र हो रहे हैं और मीडिया है, गिलगित बल्तिस्तान का मीडिया सफ़र हो रहा है और मीडिया के अंदर जो उनके जो काम है उसमें खलल पैदा हो रहा है। तो बेहतर है कि हुकूमत, इंतज़ामिया और जितने भी इदारे हैं उनसे हम रिक्वेस्ट करते हैं कि वो गिलगित बल्तिस्तान के अंदर बेहतर इंटरनेट की सहूलत को फराहम करे ताकि सहाफ़ी और स्टूडेंट समेत दीगर जितने भी इंटरनेट से जो इंटरनेट के शोबे से वाबस्ता अफराद हैं उनको उनके काम में खलल पैदा ना हो।
Poor internet service has many a times prompted students and journalists to hold demonstrations and protests against the slow connectivity. But due to outdated system and shortage of qualified staff at the Eskom, the problem continues to haunt the subscribers. Though Pakistan talks about the rights of Kashmiris at international platforms, in reality it has never been able to provide them the services at par with the people of Pakistan.
Now we take you to South Asian countries where Muslims joined by millions of followers of Islam across the globe celebrated Eid al-Fitr and bid goodbye to Ramzan, the holy month during which they fasted for 30 days. It was all happiness and fervor from India, Pakistan and Bangladesh. Have a look. Muslim devotees gathered to pray at mosques across India as they celebrated Eid al-Fitr, the traditional Muslim holiday marking the end of the holy month of Ramadan. Devotees in several cities, including capital New Delhi, gathered in large numbers early in the morning to offer their prayers after the coronavirus pandemic muted such celebrations for the past 2 years. Muslims embraced each other and exchanged Eid greetings after the prayers.
ये बहुत ही लेकिन महत्वपूर्ण है क्योंकि हमें 2 साल से ईद का की नमाज लेकिन का ये नहीं हुआ है, फील नहीं हुआ कि मेहनत करने के लिए आना है और ऊपर से वेदर भी बहुत काफ़ी अच्छा है। अभी कल को बारिश था तो हमें ये सोचने आ गया कि ईदगाह में इस बार फिर भी नमाज नहीं होंगे, तो ऊपर अल्लाह के दुआ से इंशाअल्लाह बहुत बढ़िया से नमाज होगा।
In Karachi city of Pakistan too, devotees celebrated Eid al-Fitr, the festival to mark the end of fasting month of Ramadan with mass prayers, new clothes and exchanging of greetings. Muslim worshippers gathered at local mosque and prayer grounds to offer prayers and listen to sermons, a far cry from the past 2 years when the South Asian nation imposed curbs to stop the spread of COVID-19. Residents in Islamabad and Lahore also thronged the local markets to shop for food, new outfits and shoes to celebrate the festival, but complained of rising cost of the items this year.
मैं ये पैगाम दूंगा कि हम ईद के साथ साथ अपने जो गरीब दोस्त अहबाब रिश्तेदार हैं उनको इस मौके पे ख़ुसूसी याद रखें और दुआ करें कि अल्लाह ताला इस मुल्क को इसको सलामत रखे.
Another South Asian country, Bangladesh, was too drenched with this festivity. Mosques and special prayer grounds were filled with crowds. People were exchanging greetings and receiving as well. They gave blessings to the younger generations. People returned to their homes to celebrate the festival. Thousands of people scrambled to Dhaka's ferry terminals and train stations every year in the hopes of returning home. Around 20 million people live in Dhaka because of work and leave the capital to celebrate holidays with their families in their hometowns.
তো স্টেশনে দাঁড়িয়ে আছি, ট্রেন আসবে, টিকিট পাইনি, এখন হয়তো ছাদে উপরে উঠে যেতে হবে বা ভিতরে কোনো জায়গায় যেতে পারি।
The celebration date for Eid varies from place to place and traditionally depends on the visibility of the crescent moon. During Ramadan period, Muslims abstain from eating and drinking during daylight hours for about 30 days. At the end of the fasting month, people drench with this festivity and celebrate with the religious holiday Eid al-Fitr. It's time for me to wrap up today's episode. We will be back next week at the same time. This is Yeshi signing off on behalf of the entire production team of South Asia Today. Goodbye and take care.